Good morning, Facebook Beautifully Damaged members. I hope everybody's having a great day today. My name is Mike. I am the Director of Operations here at Beautifully Damaged, and you are listening to the Musings of a Scoundrel. I'm qualifying everything I say in this musing with the fact that I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a doctor. I'm simply a mentally ill man talking about my feelings on a public forum here at Beautifully Damaged. So let's get right into it this morning. There's a Facebook page that we're aligned with out there. I say page very reluctantly because I believe this group is more of an organization than simply a page. The name of this page is Sisters of Serenity and Sobriety. Beautifully Damaged and the Sisters, as they're commonly known, but within their own ranks, it's a great page because of the support that they give all of the women there. Now, bear in mind that the sisters are all women, which is interesting. You don't see that very often on Facebook, organizationally speaking. And it's interesting, not because they're a group of very attractive females, but that they are all recovering alcoholics and addicts. And Beautifully Damaged watches them very closely because their message is one of that, it falls very close within our own message, that everyone's welcome as long as they're respectful. And the amount of support that I see on this page is very impressive. It isn't loaded with graphics. It's not overwhelmed by graphics. And the owner of this page interacts with her people every single day. And that is inspiring and great. And we wish her we wish this page the best of luck in the future. I've spoken with the owner of this page on a few occasions, and we have spoken about advocacy and where we think advocacy should go in the future. And we've talked about a lot of different issues. We've both shared our stories of addiction, and the person that runs this page is a very kind woman, and she cares very deeply for every single one of her members, which is pretty impressive. With that being said, I think it's interesting to note that the sisters, some of them are mentally ill, some aren't. But their message of recovery is pretty much in line with ours. And our female members out there that are within the confines of alcohol addiction or chemical addiction have gone to the sisters, and the sisters have opened up their arms without even asking who our members are. They instantly begin to support them, and that's an amazing thing in today's society. Reducing the stigma begins with all the small advocacy groups out there or pages. And the sisters are, excuse me, the sisters are really an amazing bunch of women. For any of you members of Beautifully Damaged that may be suffering from alcohol or chemical addiction, go on over there. You don't even have to say Beautifully Damaged sent you. This isn't about promoting us or them. This is about reaching a greater inspiring message. So with all of that being said, how do the sisters represent us as mentally ill people? Not their stories per se, but the love that they share within their circle. most of us all have a common theme that are suffering with mental illness, and that is chemical and alcohol addiction. And the sisters are there for anyone. They don't ask questions. They don't judge or criticize. They simply want to help. And that's an amazing thing. And I wish more advocacy groups and pages out there would interact with their people personally, because we could change the face of advocacy if more people were interacting with their members. So anyway, before I get off on a tangent, I'm going to try to bring myself back into this. In my own life, my addiction started when I think it was 13 years old. And this is a great story. I love telling this story. This shows you how ignorant and silly I really am. I had gotten home day after, the day of school was over, and I came home. And it something just clicked in my brain. There was no particular thing that was going on. In fact, it was an okay day. I remember it. And I got home, and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to drink today. Not a second's thought. Just, I'm going to drink today. And bear in mind, I've never had before this time, I never had a sip of alcohol. But it was just an instant thing. I need to drink. So what did I do? Without thinking, I went into my parents' closet in the kitchen, and I saw a bottle of alcohol. And I drank in excess. In fact, I drank the whole bottle of... I can't tell you what the bottle was because it's going to ruin the story. But I drank it like an alcoholic. I drank the whole thing. Got right into it. While I was drinking, I called up my girlfriend at the time. She was, a beautiful redhead. And I said, "Hey, come on over. We're having a party," as in, as if it was more than just me. So that not only was I a drunk at 13, I was also a liar. So as I'm getting drunker and drunker and waiting for my girlfriend to come over, I just she finally came in the door, and she saw me lying on the couch, and right when she walked in that door, I was puking all over my parents' couch. I mean, I was just puking. And she grabs me by the foot, and she starts dragging me out of the house. And I'm still throwing up on the floor on the way out. That's when I passed out. I blacked out. A couple hours later, I woke up, and my dad... Somehow, I got into my basement bedroom. I don't know how I did it. And my dad asked the funniest, most rhetorical question that I have ever heard. He said, "Mike, you been drinking?" And my first response was, "No, I haven't been drinking. I just don't feel good." Well, as it turns out, I had mild alcohol poisoning at that young age. And I remember for the next 3 days, my dad just sat over and watched me. He didn't go to work. He didn't do anything. He just sat there with me. I wanted to die. Now, the even funnier part of the story is that's right, sisters and beautifully damaged members. I drank 14-year-old dusty cooking sherry. That was my first experience. Cooking sherry. What? Who does that? So, anyway, as I got sicker and sicker and sicker with reactive attachment disorder and borderline personality disorder and bipolar disorder and chemical addiction problems, I graduated to cigarettes, and I huffed paint thinner, and it got even worse from there. I started doing drugs, missing school. In fact, I huffed so much paint thinner in about a 9-month period, 3 to 4 times a day. I kid you not, I started talking backwards. I had neurological damage from all the huffing, and I literally would talk backwards. I could say sentences backwards without even thinking about it. It was, it was instantaneous. And it's statistically proven that mentally ill people, many of us have chemical addiction problems. Like I was saying in yesterday's musing, I don't remember most of my life. I never fought the idea I was an alcoholic. I just simply didn't realize it. Nobody could save me. I remember many times driving so drunk I couldn't pee in a straight line, let alone drive a car, and somehow I always drove drunk. In fact, I drove so drunk there would be police officers behind me and they wouldn't pull me over because, from what I understand from what my friends tell me, I'm a better driver when I'm drunk. So that goes to the whole functioning alcoholic thing. I would get into rages when I was drunk. I kicked out my parents' windshield in their car because I was really pissed off when I was drunk, of course. I remember times when I would be actually passing out at the bar at 8 o'clock at night. In fact, I remember sometimes I was so drunk at clubs that they would have to, they'd have to serve me shots in plastic cups because I could no longer hold the shot glass without spilling the alcohol that was in it. I think about, not necessarily, I can't call my addiction problems insanity. It was more like controlled chaos. I tried to kill myself when I was drunk. I was not a happy drunk. I was not a giddy drunk. I was a depressive drunk. When I would drink, I would become suicidal. I would become heavily depressed. And a lot of people witnessed this, and a lot of people suffered because of it. So like I said, my alcoholism was, my alcohol addiction and chemical addiction was pretty scary. And here's the best part. The sisters opened up their hearts to me. And that's very telling of who they are. I'm not an attractive female. I'm an ugly, nerdy-looking guy with freckles. And still, they opened their hearts to me, and they opened up their page to me, which is very telling. A group of women saying, "Yeah, come on in, say hello." That's kind of impressive. So that's a little bit about my chemical addiction and my story. So once again, for female members that are suffering from chemical addiction problems or alcohol addiction, check out the Sisters of Serenity and Sobriety. They will open up their hearts to you too, and I promise you're going to be better off for it. I would like to thank you for listening to the Musings of a Scoundrel, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.